And
So
but
Angelo,
like, I wouldn't.
Oh,
It'd be better.
Is that Angel?
I wasn't sure.
Or put Angelo, so if my wife is looking at it, trying to figure out this data.
So he split us up.
Or put AJ Boncourt, then she'll know.
Yeah, AJ Boncore, Boncore.
I've been so
Good? Sean? All right. So today we're going to be going through a couple of chapters in 2nd Chronicles, chapters 34 through 36. And so I'm going to do my best to embody the truth of the story from one of the characters. So read along or sit back and enjoy the show. My name is Shaphan. I was a secretary to one of the most evil kings I've ever known, King Ammon. His father, King Manasseh, was also an evil king for most of his reign. But in his later years, he humbled himself before the Lord, and he did his best to rid the kingdom of idolatry. So when he died, we hoped that Ammon would follow in his footsteps. He didn't. He destroyed everything his father worked for in just 2 short years. He did detestable things before the Lord, and he wouldn't humble himself. So his officials, they planned to plot his death. But I wanted nothing to do with it. Thank God that I didn't, because they followed through with their plan. They killed the king. And the people in the land found out, and they killed them all. The kingdom was in an uproar. But then I remembered, during those 2 years that I served under King Ammon, I got to meet his son, Josiah. There was something different about that boy. Something special. I thought to myself, if he becomes king, surely our kingdom has hope. And that's exactly what happened. This 8-year-old boy became king, and he let me continue as his secretary. I love that boy. His heart burned zealous for the Lord like his ancestor David. He was the first righteous king we had in a long, long time. During his 12th year of reign, he decided he would rid the kingdom of idolatry. And it was glorious. He was going through the towns, tearing down Asherah poles and crushing idols with his bare hands. I even witnessed him go to the graves of the priests and pull out their bones and burn their bones on the altar. It was amazing. Surely this king would not stand for what his predecessors stood for. That much was clear. I mean, what could this kid do wrong? He set the tone in the kingdom. Revival was happening everywhere we looked. He was the transformative leader we'd been praying for. One year, Josiah decided he would renovate the temple that had been left in ruins by all the previous kings. It was an exhilarating project. And of all the people, he asked me and a few of the other leaders to lead the project. One day, during the renovations, the high priest Hilkiah found something spectacular. He found the book of the law of Moses. We had only heard about the book from our ancestors, but never had we had one in the flesh. The high high priest, he told me, go and take the book to the king. So as soon as we finished the renovations, I went to the king with the report, and I told him about the book of the law. And Josiah was thrilled. So I began to read the book to him. And to my surprise, he ripped his clothes in anguish. He had realized that the previous kings had not lived according to the book of the law, and that surely God's judgment and destruction was coming on the people of Judah. So he sent me and the high priest and a few of the leaders to the prophet Huldah to see what the Lord wanted to say. He was right. Destruction was coming to Judah. But that didn't faze the king. It was like pouring fuel on the flame of his burning zeal. He called all of us together to the newly built temple. All the priests and the leaders, all of us, all the people of the land. And he began to read all the words of the book of the covenant. And he vowed before the Lord in the presence of our God that he would follow him for the rest of his days. And that he would hold all of the statutes, all of the decrees, all of the words in the book. And he did something that I will always be in debt to him for. He had all of us get down and pledge before him. Pledge before the Lord that we would follow him for the rest of our days. He taught us how to serve the Lord and follow the Lord our God with all of our hearts and all of our souls. It didn't end there. Not only did he restore the ethical law found in the book, but he also restored the ritual law. For the first time in years, our people celebrated the Passover. It was the Passover. We'd only heard about these stories, but never had we celebrated in such a long time. Not since the prophet Samuel. It had been over 400 years since we saw a Passover like this. After the king had established all the priests and got the rituals ready, he provided 30,000 lambs and goats from his own wealth and 3,000 cattle. His generosity sparked generosity in all of us. And so we all brought as much as we could. And so the ritual began. They began to slaughter the lambs. It was a bloody mess, but it was beautiful. The sins of our people were being atoned for, and we were being restored to the Lord our God. The glory of the Lord was upon us. The presence of God was with us. And for 13 beautiful years, we served the Lord and we glorified him in everything we did. We thought what could go wrong. Until one day, a day I'll never forget. For some God-forsaken reason, the king decided he would go to war, go to battle with Necho, the king of Egypt. I mean, seriously? Necho? The king of Egypt? We had no reason to go to battle with him. And we begged and we pleaded with the king, please, don't do this. We have no reason to go to battle with him, nor do we have the means to. But he didn't listen to us. And he confronted the king. And it was as if the king himself was being used by God to show him mercy. He made a way for the king. He made a way out. He was confused just as we were. He couldn't understand why Josiah would want to go to battle with him. He said, I'm not even here to fight you. And it was as if the Lord was speaking through Necho. And he said, God has told me to hurry. So stop opposing God, who is with me, or he will destroy you. don't know what he was thinking. I don't know why he would go against the fiercest army in the world. Maybe it was because what he read in the book of the law. And he saw that Egypt had oppressed our ancestors for 400 years. Maybe he saw it as a chance for vengeance. Maybe he saw how God had favor on the Israelites when they faced impossible opponents. Perhaps he thought that he had surely raised his son to follow the ways of the Lord, and he had no fear because even if he died, surely his son would follow in his footsteps. Whatever the reason, it was stupid. It was reckless. He put everything on the line. His legacy, his people, everything he had labored to build. Sure enough, the king died. We thought that maybe, just maybe, all hope wasn't lost because his son Jehoaz was appointed as king, was anointed by the Lord, and we thought, surely he would follow. But he didn't. He did evil in the sights of the Lord, and in 3 months he was dethroned as king by the king of Egypt. He was replaced by his brother Jehoiakim, but he too was an evil man. And for 11 horrible years, he ruled with evil and destruction. And from Jehoiakim to Jehoiakim to Zedekiah, just 22 years, they completely destroyed everything that Josiah had worked for. Our law, our rituals, our temple, our king, and even our land and our freedom. Those of us who survived the judgment of God were taken away to Babylonian exile. It was as if God had left. He did. There we were, enslaved to the powerhouse of the world yet again. The people of God. Oh God. How we people. Friends, I am here today to tell you, don't make the same mistake that Josiah made. I saw an entire kingdom rise and fall on one man's shoulders because of one reckless decision. And what I learned is that when transformative leaders make reckless decisions, they destroy everything they labored so hard to build. Take it from me. Good leaders are hard to come by.